Guys, it's Aaron VHA here bringing you a new video. The great folks over at Moes sent me over a Smart Wi-Fi Switch Module. To me, these things are great. They fit inside a standard wall plate. You don't really have to take them apart. And basically, they just kind of go in line between your main power and your actual switch. They're pretty easy to set up, and we're going to walk through all that here. But as you can see, for less than 20 bucks, on the Moes website, it's a pretty sweet deal. Let's check it out. So they're also available on Amazon's website as well. And they're actually a little bit cheaper on Amazon. So if you're looking for the opportunity to pick these up for under 15 bucks, you can get them on Amazon right now, at least from the link that I have. I'll put the links in the description below so they're easy to find, but definitely go check out Moes' website if you haven't, because they have a lot of other stuff out there as well. So let's do a quick run through of everything we're going to cover in this video. So of course, for starters, we're going to start by unboxing the device. Once we do that, we'll kind of walk through installing the switch in the wall. Once we got it powered up and installed and everything, then we'll see about getting it added into the Tuya app. Once we have it added, at least hopefully, to the Tuya app, then of course we will get it set up in Home Assistant as well. And lastly, I'll just kind of show you what that looks like in action. So let's get started. Alright, so this is a pretty simple packaging here. There's not a whole lot to it. We'll get this thing opened up here. You can see how small it is. It's really about the size of like a Shelly 1, I think. I know that the Sonoff Mini, it's probably about that size as well, I guess. I haven't actually had one of those yet, so I can't confirm that for sure, but it certainly looks to be about the same size. It actually has the basic setup actually designed on the actual casing, so it makes it easy for wiring it up, even without the instructions. But like I said, it's really small form factor, makes it easy to fit inside your wall box. And the instructions show you a couple of different ways to wire this up. At least from the directions, it says that it will actually work with a three-way switch setup as well. Unfortunately, I don't have a good three-way setup that's not already smart in my house currently, so it makes it kind of hard for me to get that set up. But I definitely wanted to mention that because that makes this thing that much cooler. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and move on to the next step. See if we can't get this thing installed in the wall. Alright, so just to kind of give you some background as to what I'm doing or where I'm going to install this switch, I am going to install it into my daughter's bedroom. So this is her switch here. There's two switches in the wall plate. One controls the light, one controls the fan. We're going to be setting this up to, of course, control the light switch in her room. So as you can see here, I've kind of pulled that light switch away from the wall a little bit. You can kind of see how it's set up. Basically, there's one main line that feeds both of these switches, and you know, the power comes into one and then it bounces over to the other one, and that feeds the second switch as well. It's a pretty simple setup. Neutral's tucked back in the back there, so I'll probably have to pull both switches out of the wall plate in order to kind of get to everything and get it all wired up. Okay, so I've kind of gotten everything wired up, and I went ahead and turned the breaker back on. That way I could kind of make sure that everything was still going to work properly, all the switches, everything was working the way it should. And as you can see here, things are still turning on and off. I think we're good to go. Alright, so again, one last thing. I went ahead and turned the power back off, got everything into the wall box. Got the switches screwed back in. Everything's kind of tucked away. As you can see, the Moes switch module fits right beside that switch there on the end, so it works out great. Fits very easily in there. So I didn't have much trouble getting it to fit all back in the wall box, so that's pretty good there. And again, I turn the power back on just to make sure that everything looks good. I think at this point we don't need to turn the power off again. I'll just be able to screw that wall plate back on and we'll be good to go. One last test just to make sure, of course, everything's still powering on and off as it should. So I think we're ready to move on to that next step and try to get this thing added into the Tuya Smart App. Alright, so here we are in the Tuya Smart App. We're going to hit that plus up in the top corner. We're looking for the Wi-Fi switch, and then of course you'll run through the setup. Make sure you have your wireless credentials for your SSID set up there. We'll also need to put the switch module in pairing mode. Based on the directions, what it said to do was to flick the light switch on and off 5 times, and then you will hear it start to beep. And it actually kind of beeps continuously. Unfortunately, I didn't get this on video so that I could actually show you, but it beeps continuously. That's how you know it's in pairing mode. Then you will go ahead and start the search on the app. As you can see here, it found it right away. We can go ahead and change the name here. I'll give it a name of Allie's bedroom light. Go ahead and save it. And of course, now we have the ability to turn it off from the Tuya app. So we're ready to go. Let's go ahead and move on to the next step. Alright, so getting it added into Home Assistant is super easy, especially if you're using the Tuya integration. So basically we'll go into configuration and integrations here, scroll down to the Tuya integration that I already have set up, and as you can see, the Allie's bedroom light is already here and we are good to go. Now this will show up automatically in the integration after a while. I don't know how often that Home Assistant and Tuya communicate as far as pulling in new devices, but you can restart Home Assistant for that to take effect a little bit faster if you choose to do so. Like I said, we now have it in the Tuya Smart App as well as Home Assistant. Let's go ahead and move on to that last step and we'll kind of see it in action. Alright, so just kind of walk through everything I have here. On the top there is the video of the light of the room. On the left we have the Tuya app open to this particular light, and then of course on the bottom we have Home Assistant pulled up that is also showing the switch for this light as well. We'll just kind of flick things on and off and see the response time. And as you can see, Home Assistant is a little bit delayed from the Tuya app. It's not instant, but pretty close. I mean, it's shortly after. Still definitely usable and worth the setup here, I think. That's pretty much the end of the video, guys. I know normally I try to get these things set up with Tasmota. I did not do that for this module, but I do plan on doing a follow-up video for this where I will try to use Tuya Convert and see if I can't get Tasmota loaded on this Moes switch. But nonetheless, for under 15 bucks, this switch module is a pretty sweet little deal. So like I said, if you haven't checked out this particular device, or this one doesn't interest you, definitely go over to moeshouse.com and check out all of their other products. They got tons of smart stuff out there and definitely worth checking out. We'll do a quick run through everything we covered in this video. So of course we started by unboxing the device. Once we did that, we installed the switch in the wall. Once we got it installed and everything was powered back on, then of course we added it into the Tuya app. Once we got it added into the Tuya app, we went ahead and set it up in Home Assistant. And of course lastly I showed you what that looked like in action. That's the end of the video, guys. Again, I will be doing a follow-up video where I try to get Tasmota on this. Just didn't have time to get all that put together for this particular video. So you'll definitely want to stay tuned for that one. As always, thank you to everyone that has donated to my Buy Me a Coffee link. Every little bit helps. Again, check out the Teespring merchandise page for all my Burns home automation merchandise. If you liked the video, please subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comments below. As always, if there are any videos out there that you would like to see that I don't already have out there, let me know in the comments as well, and I'll see if I can't get something put together for you guys. Otherwise, I'll see you guys around. Thanks.